Micro-level causes, effects, needs, and response. In addition to macro-level and meso-level causes, there are also individual-level vulnerabilities and factors that cause trafficking and other exploitation. While technically the micro-level refers to the individual person, we must consider the family as well, since the individual person is part of the family, and what affects the family will also affect them personally. For instance, we and others invested years in helping a young trafficked woman named Moon. However, the progress that she made while in protected aftercare settings disappeared when she returned home to a family that had not changed. We needed to find a way to help Moon and her family thrive so that she and other family members could remain safe. Think about what are some of the micro-level causes, dynamics, and vulnerabilities that affect individuals and their families. People's individual characteristics can make them vulnerable. For instance, marginalized status, history of child sexual abuse, lack of family or stable living situation, growing up in an institution such as an orphanage or children's home, or lacking legal status and protection. These individual vulnerabilities are compounded when the person's family experiences dysfunction or breakdown, crushing debt or inability to obtain sustainable work, or they lack awareness of the risk of harm. While this presentation focuses on the supply side, it's important to note that we must also address individual demand, including our own demand for products and services that come at the price of someone else's freedom. Next, let's look at micro-level effects and needs. Trafficking, slavery, and exploitation cause holistic harm to individuals, affecting their bodies, minds, and spirits. This harm is interrelated and overlapping. For example, emotional harm can have physical effects such as headaches, cognitive effects, they can't concentrate, and economic effects, and therefore they're unable to hold down a job. These effects create deep needs in all areas of a person's life, including physical, cognitive, emotional, psychological, spiritual, social, and economic. Think about the holistic effects and needs that individuals face, and also think about how these effects and needs are impacted by what's happening in the individual's family and community, as well as in the greater society. Here's a list of some of the physical needs that arise and some of the emotional needs that exist. These are also some of the spiritual needs that arise, and finally, the social and economic needs that must be addressed. Let's finally look at micro-level responses. These micro-level causes and holistic effects must be addressed in order to effectively prevent, protect, and restore individuals and their families from harm. Doing so requires many types of response and a variety of actors. Think about the ways in which micro-level causes, effects, and needs must be addressed across this trafficking spectrum, and also think about how helping an individual person does not just require responding to the micro level, but also to the meso and macro levels as well. Prevention at the micro level requires, at a minimum, reducing the vulnerabilities of individuals and their families, providing safe and sustainable work, not just for the individual, but for her family as well, raising awareness of risks, and protecting people from harm, especially emerging threats. Intervention at the micro level requires, at a minimum, pursuing effective outreach and enforcement of legal protections, ensuring a rights-based approach, and going beyond rescue. Restoration of individuals must include holistic, community-based care that protects them from harm and recognizes the impact of culture and gender on the healing process. And finally, successful reintegration requires addressing the same factors that led to the initial exploitation, including ensuring the economic success of the individual and her family, and addressing harmful cultural beliefs and social barriers.